What is going on, guys? Stu here, back with another Marvel Strike Force video. Hopefully you guys are having a very fantastic day. Today, guys, I'm going to be going over what I use for all of the Scourges to get all of my legendary Horseman characters to 7 stars, how I, played the most efficiently when I was building for the Scourges, and how I was able to get all the characters at 7 stars even without building some of the characters. So the way I did it was very, efficiency-wise. I'm not saying that you shouldn't build any of the Scourge teams in general. In my last video, I actually said that they're not worth the investment. However, if you really do want to go for that high Scourge points, and if you really like the game mode and you just enjoy getting a high score in that game mode, then that's totally up to you. You totally can build for that, and just in my opinion, they're not going to be worth it because the teams end up not being that great in the future. However, I'm also going to be going over what I'm going to be using for the Nova Scourge as well. But if you do enjoy this kind of content, please be sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I got my trusty Charizard here with me today because he's a baller. And anyways, guys, let's get into, say with me now, the intro. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another Marvel Strike Force video. Hopefully you are having a fantastic day. So I ended up taking, putting all the characters here in my roster from what I used in the Scourges. I have them all listed here right now. And I also, let me just alt tab real quick. So I also pulled up the maps on msf.gg, aka marvelstrikeforce.com. If you want to check out the maps for yourself, all you have to do is go to game, then you go to maps, you click the maps, and then it'll pull up all the map sections here for all the Dark Dimensions, Ultimus raids, all the raids, and then you can also check the Apocalypse sagas. So let's start off with the Pestilence saga. I'm obviously going to start with difficulty 7. This is probably the one that most people are going to end up doing. So any of these, you can really do whatever you'd like. The reason all you really want to do is take in the characters that are really going to help you out the most here, and then not affect your node 5 or node 10 in the future. So for the Pestilence Surge, aka the Morgan Le Fay Scourge, this one is a bit tricky because it does require the Web Warriors. Now, if you've listened to a lot of my videos before, the Web Warriors have fallen off tremendously. They're absolutely garbage now. They're not worth building in the slightest. If you really want to build them for the Morgan Le Fay Scourge, they're actually not even that great in the Scourge in general. You're going to be very frustrated, going through the nodes with Morgan Le Fay, the Scourge for Morgan Le Fay anyways, because this team, it's one of the hardest Scourges in my opinion, and this team kind of struggled. It kind of struggled on the RNG aspect. You really needed the RNG to help you out. So I do have them built up quite high because I did end up, this was the raid team back when I was playing the game, and I didn't end up using them for the Dark Dimension 5 city section as well. So I do have quite the massive Web Warriors here. However, I just can't bring myself to recommend it for any of the new players out there who are trying to get Morgan Le Fay to upgrade the Web Warriors. It's really not going to be worth your time. So what I recommend for situations like this is to just do difficulty 7 or difficulty 8 with any of your higher characters, and just do the first 4 nodes with a bunch of Scourges on, and then just get a score of 500,000 to get the shards that you need to, basically in the leaderboards to get the shards. Plus, with a bunch of people already having a 7-star character as well, 7-star legendary, aka Morgan Le Fay, Red Hulk, all that stuff, the leaderboards aren't going to be that jam-packed anymore, so you might even end up getting higher on the leaderboards than you thought. Even with the 500k, just try and get those shards, those 100 shards in the leaderboard section, and you'll probably end up with a 4-star Morgan Le Fay or a 4-star Rogue, even without building these Scourge teams. So that's really great. The one that might be a little bit different is the upcoming Nova Scourge, obviously, because that is a newer Scourge. But yes, the Web Warriors are required for the Morgan Le Fay one. I did use them, and I did end up doing difficulty 8. However, I just cannot recommend building them anymore. So so that's the Morgan Le Fay Scourge. Up to you if you really want to build the Web Warriors. I don't recommend it. They're not good in any game mode anymore, maybe in the early raids if you're a newer player, but that's about it. But let's move on right away to the Morgan Le Fay Scourge, the Famine one. So as you can see in this one requires A-Force, Inhuman, and Young Avengers. You know what? Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can actually see. There we go. A-Force, Inhuman, and Young Avengers. So this one is a little bit tricky because the Young Avengers actually are a decent team. However, if you can see right here, this is what I was forced to use, unfortunately, because I don't have my Young Avengers built up in the slightest. As you can see over here on the left, my Kate Bishop and Echo are level 1. I didn't get to use them at all. My American Chavez is built up slightly just because, you know, she's good in war and she provides speed up by 20% for war defensive teams. But Miss Marvel, I was planning on taking Miss Marvel to Dark Dimension City, but I never ended up doing it. So that's why she's a little bit built up bigger than all my other ones. And then my Squirrel Girl obviously is a fantastic character. She still is a fantastic character in my opinion. She's still one of the best plug-in plays, especially as a healer. She's one of the best support characters in the game. She's a very, very good city option if you are considering city for Dark Dimension 5 and you don't have another character. She's a bio character as well, so you'll definitely get use out of her there. But, you know, I didn't build up any of the other ones. Obviously, Miles for Web Warriors, but this is very difficult for me to recommend to you guys to build because Young Avengers are falling off in the meta a lot right now. They are still good in Cosmic Crucible defense. They're still good in war defense. It's just hard for me to recommend building them as a, you know, a newer player. I wouldn't be able to say, oh yes, Young Avengers is a must build team right now. Like, you totally need to build them. There's so many other teams in the game. There's new ones coming out right now that are just destroying Young Avengers. They're getting power crept every single day. Their value is going down ever so slightly, but yes, they are still a good team, just not as good as they used to be. So what did I end up doing since I didn't build the Young Avengers? Well, if you look here in the city section, you know, before I built up Web Warriors because I was a newer player, this is what I actually did. So since I was a veteran player, I have my symbiotes at 760,000 power. So what did I do with my symbiotes? I actually took them in on difficulty 8 on the Famine Scourge, did the first 4 nodes like I was mentioning in the Morgan Le Fay Scourge just a minute ago. I took them in, I got about 500k score, and that's it. Every single time the Morgan Le Fay Scourge came around, I didn't even do node 5, past node 5 all the way to 10. I literally just put it on difficulty 8, put a bunch of Scourges on, just enough so that I could get 500,000 score, and then get the 100 shards for Rogue, and then just slightly go up very, very slightly as the time goes on. And that's how I got my my Rogue to 7 stars without ever building Young Avengers, really. Like, I never did node 5. These guys alone, you know, like if I go back to my roster here, this team was not able to beat node 5 because the Inhumans are garbage, and then I don't recommend building Dark Hunters. I think they're garbage as well. And then these two on themselves weren't enough to carry me through the nodes, and it was very difficult, right? So I had to use my symbiotes, which was actually very, I think Mr. Heartgrave was the one to say that people should do that. I actually commented on one of his videos this one time, and then he actually shouted me out in one of his videos for saying that that was a good option. And I'm glad that he said that, because a lot of the community probably ended up doing the same thing as well. I'm not gonna say it was my idea, it was probably someone else's idea, but still, shout out to Mr. Heartgrave. He was the one who came, brought it to the community's attention that the symbiotes are fantastic. I don't know why I just exited full screen there, but yes, this team is a little bit out of the meta now. I would not recommend building them. I would just recommend, and it's hard for me to say as well to use the city section. You probably, if you are building up new warriors right now, because they are fantastic, the new warriors would actually end up probably being a fantastic city option for the Rogue Scourge as well. Because it is city, and then mutant, there's a lot of good mutant characters right now. So you'll be able to do that as well. But that's the Rogue Scourge. I wouldn't recommend building Young Avengers, A-Force, or Inhumans. They're not great. If you have A-Force, that's fine. I don't know, Jessica Jones might get you some value, but still definitely not worth it in the slightest. But let's move on to the War Scourge. So for the War Scourge, guys, this one's actually one of the easiest in my opinion. So you have a couple options here, Avengers and Bio. They give you a lot of options here. And then this is the big one, Hero Asgardian, Ravager, Wave 1, Avengers. So going through this right now, if I go up my roster, you'll see here that this was the team that I ended up taking into the War Scourge, and I scored over 2 million points on the Red Hulk Scourge with this Wave 1 Avengers team. That's right. This team right here got me over 2 million points. Hawkeye is actually fantastic. I ended up building him. This is not what I wanted to do. Where are they? Wave 1 Avengers. Sorry. I just completely took him out. So my Hawkeye... So I'm lucky I have a 7 red Hawkeye, and I ended up building him to gear 14 for the skill raids before the new invaders came out. But he was fantastic for me. Basically what I did was I turn rewind a bunch of the characters right at the start of the node with Hawkeye, and then obviously Hulk and Captain America are used for the, end-game teams right now, and Iron Man was technically used for the Bionic Avengers. I wouldn't recommend building Iron Man anymore. He's not that great anymore. But my Thor, so I built up my Thor as a massive investment for me because I love Thor. Thor's one of my favorite characters in the game. But him alone, level 96 red, 212,000 power. Holy crap, guys. This guy, as soon as he slammed his hammer, boom, the entire wave was completely dead. So that was really, really cool for me. This Wave 1 Avengers team is probably the team that I would recommend building if you are going to go for a high Scourge points with the Red Hulk Scourge. And Red Hulk, in my opinion, is the one that is worth it the most to get. He is the horseman that I would recommend that you should build for first if you do want to get a horseman character, especially as a newer player, because he is the most powerful horseman out of all of them, in my opinion. He's fantastic. He's good in every game mode. I would even recommend taking him all the way to gear tier 18, level 95, ISO 5, whatever. Just do everything you can. He's amazing. But this was the team that I ended up using. They were fantastic. And then obviously I had a lot of other broad teams in the game that I was able to use on the other nodes as well. Let me show you here. I didn't even bring it up, but yeah, skills easy, villains easy. There's tons of villain options. Bio Avengers, they really give you a lot of broad options here. So this is actually one of the easiest Scourges in my opinion. But the Wave 1 Avengers, man, they are fantastic. They're in my opinion, they're probably even better than Hero as Guardians. If you have a big Thor, you're probably just gonna laugh to the bank on this, man. Like, it's just that easy. You know, and again, if you really don't want to build any of these characters, but you know, Hulk and Captain America, you're gonna end up building anyways, let's be honest. If you really don't want to, again, just do what I told you in the first place, is just go for 500,000 score, do the first 4 nodes, get 500,000 points, and then call it a day, man. You really don't have to invest more than that if you don't want to do the node 5, but that is that. So for Death Scourge, unfortunately, this is the one that is going to piss a lot of people off. The first 2 nodes here, the minions, yes. So I don't know if Scopely just wanted to piss off the community, but they ended up making these 2 first nodes minions, which is really, really a pain in the ass. I don't know why they did that. They must have just hated everyone. They're like, oh, what does nobody have upgraded in their roster? Minions? Okay, let's make it require minions. And then obviously I had to upgrade my minions, and then Bionic Avengers are required for node 5. Again, I do have my Bionic Avengers built because they were the tech team, you know, at the time. They still are the tech team technically, but I fear that they will be power crept very shortly. But let me show you what I used anyways for that. Let me go back to my roster here. So this is the team that I ended up using for the minion session. That's right, 381,000 power, and I was able to get through node 8 of the Scourges. Sorry, difficulty 8. So what did I end up doing? I took all my Ravagers, the gear tier 14, which I don't know if I could recommend to people. It's kind of difficult to recommend. This was probably one of the hardest things I had to do in the game, was upgrade these stupid minions, because I never use them anywhere and I hate them. I don't like them at all. But I did build them up. The only T4 that I did, I believe, was Ravager Bruiser's passive. I think his passive is really, really solid, just to help out the team a little bit, you know, when you were fighting through all the, you know, all the minions and stuff. But if you are doing the Death Scourge and you build up these guys a little bit, gear tier 14 is all you really need. Blue ISO 4 on them. I even put Ravager Bruiser as a healer just to give them more sustainability. This is actually a good option in my opinion. Usually I would run Skirmisher on him, you know, to get those debuffs guaranteed when he does his taunt. But with the healer, I was able to keep my team more sustained, and it was able to, you know, get through the nodes a little bit easier. But then I also had my Hand Sentry there and my Hydra Grenadier. You know, they were not that great. They were just level, they were extras that I had. They're level 60, gear tier 11. Actually, what's his name? Hand Sentry was actually pretty good, providing the evades and the stealth to the team when he did his ultimate all the time, which was actually okay. And I put Fortifier on him just so he would survive a little bit longer. I didn't bother putting even level 5 on him just because he was just a waste of gear, but that is what it is. But then again, so this team actually worked very well for me. I would recommend, if you're gonna do the minions and you really want to go for Archangel, that this is the one, this is the team that I would recommend. Except for these 2, I would end up doing Merc Riot Guard and Merc Lieutenant as well. They'll definitely get you more value. However, Hand Sentry was actually pretty good, gave me a lot of evades and stealth. And then Bionic Avengers, very hard for me to recommend right now because, you know, they are the tech team that is being used. However, I fear that they will definitely get power crept in the new incursion raid. I don't think they're going to be, you know, needed for that. And I don't know why I have them all as raiders. I don't know. I just like all the damage. I like the big damage on them. Maybe healer's better on Viv, but if you definitely are doing the Scourge, maybe consider putting healer on Viv Vision or healer on Hulkbuster, just to give the team a bit more sustain. But yes, that is what I'm going to be using for that. And then, sorry, let me go back here. So here's the big one, guys. What am I going to be building for hold on, let me get them all here real just, you know, ready for you guys. So what am I going to be building for the upcoming Nova Scourge? Masters of Evil right here, excluding Absorbing Man, and I am going to be building Quicksilver instead. You know what, let me just heart them all. That way I can show you guys what I'm going to be doing with all the T4s. Sorry, my apologies. I should have been more prepared for this, but I was an idiot and completely forgot about this. But yes, Masters of Evil and Quicksilver is what I end up planning to take, you know, for this Scourge. So for Titania, don't do any of her T4s, man. They're not worth it. They're all for Cosmic Crucible. Every single one of them is for Cosmic Crucible. You don't need to do any of them. If anything, you could do the ultimate just to get 100% extra damage on her ultimate. She does have a really good ultimate applying that ability block even outside of Cosmic Crucible. But in my opinion, you really don't need to overinvest in this team to get value in the Scourge. You know, I'm not going to say that they're a bad team to build. You know, I don't really get used to them and set outside of Cosmic Crucible. But you don't need any T4s on this team if you are investing just for the Nova Scourge. Literally gear tier 15, level 80, and that's all I'm going to do, man. I don't plan on taking these guys past level 80, gear tier 15. Moonstone, same thing. No T4s. They're all Cosmic Crucible T4s. Kang, obviously build up to the max if you haven't already. He will probably be the one carrying you through this Nova Scourge the most if you do end up building Masters of Evil for this Scourge. I wouldn't recommend building X Factor either. I don't think that they're going to be that useful. We don't know yet, to be honest, but I don't believe that they're going to be that great. But yes, build up your Kang all the way. And then one thing I do want to say is I'm slowly but surely building up my Quicksilver. But yes, as you can see here, I've done every single T4 on him. His T4s are very good, man. Like if you're really gonna build up Quicksilver, you could definitely T4 everything he has. He is one of those characters that kind of requires you to do all of his T4s to make him really function properly, unfortunately. And then I would definitely consider Skirmisher for now, since most people have him at low stars at the moment. Skirmisher is going to help you land those debuffs a little bit easier. Striker is probably what I'm going to end up putting on him in the future once I get a bigger Quicksilver. But for now, Skirmisher is definitely good enough for me, and I definitely believe that that's the best option for you. And then red stars. You don't need any red stars on them. They're definitely going to help you out. However, I am saving my red stars for Nova just in case. I do believe that Nova is going to be one of the best characters in the game. It'll probably be arena viable because of the battlefield effect. So, you know, I'm just being careful with my dark promotion credits right now. I know that he's probably going to be really good with the red stars. However, I'm just being careful and I'm preparing for the worst, and I'm saving my red stars for Nova because I believe he's going to be a better character. And then Ultron, I have a gear tier 16 just because I think Ultron's the only other good option on the team. I did have all of his T4s max back in the day. So, you know, what you see here is my veteran Ultron kind of coming through because I had him at gear tier 14 with max T4s for so long before the rework that I kind of had them all. I never had to do them again. And then I took him to gear tier 16 because he is a solid character on his own right. I don't know, he's okay. He's definitely a lot better than most of the other Masters of Evil team members, but that's what I plan to do for my Nova Scourge as well. That's basically what I plan to take, man. All of them at gear tier 15. Ultron, I'd say take to 16. Kang to 17 if you can, and then Quicksilver, just take him to gear tier 15. You know, if you want, you can take him to 16 as well because he is a good character. He is Mystic though, so be very careful on that aspect. There's just way too many Mystic characters in the game at the moment to really focus on Quicksilver for me. There's just, I can't afford to put teal gear on him at the moment. I'm probably going to take him to level 80, 85, gear tier 15, and that's going to be good enough for me. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. That's what you know, it's basically a little bit of a guide. A lot of people definitely asked me in the comments below what they should be using for these Scourges. You know, because I did recommend not building Scourge teams. So they're like, well, how do I do well in the Scourges then? And to be honest, you really don't need to do well in the Scourges, man. Get 500,000 points, get your 100 shards, and you're good to go. If you really want to build for the Scourges, again, that's up to you. It's however you want to play the game, man. If you enjoy building for Scourges, build for Scourges all the way. I would definitely avoid Young Avengers and the Web Warriors and Bionic Avengers, in my opinion. You could definitely avoid building all those teams. You know, they're not going to get a lot of value in the future with those guys. But anyways, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I'm definitely going to be making a ton of Marvel Strike Force content in the future. And let me know if you like Charizard, man. He's my boy. I got this guy at PAX. Actually, he's pretty sick. Love my man Charizard. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. That's gonna be it from me. Peace out.